guys, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. We're going to be talking about my OG cast member, Mackenzie Standifer Edwards. I was sent a video earlier today, and I'll be honest, you guys, everybody knows, like, I'm not one of those, like, hate Mackenzie people. I see a lot of, like, what I went through and the same stuff that she's went through. So, like, I feel sympathy for her. And two, I'm not one to like just hate people and like attack people. Like, even if I completely disagree with them, like I'm not on here just like raging on them. But I have to talk about this because I was sent a video of a TikTok or somebody tagged me in it and was like, what do you think about this? And it was a video about Mackenzie, about her past, saying that she was an addict, saying that she had lost custody of her oldest son. And Cassie is one of Mackenzie's real life friends. Cassie has known Mackenzie for a long time. They see each other, they hang out together, their kids are friends. So Cassie knows Mackenzie, okay? And I have talked to not just Cassie, I've talked to Mackenzie behind the scenes, I've talked to other people that know them behind the scenes, but I wanted to play this video and then I wanted to respond to it because I don't know, it just, to me, it shows like how rumors get started. And while people can hate Mackenzie as much as they want, they can be mad at her for the letter she wrote to Macy. Trust me, that was when that is something that I could not stand on the show. When she read that letter on the show to Macy, I remember her like stomping off the stage, right? And Amber being like, "Oh, I hope she comes out this way," and I'm like, "Me too." You know, that letter was definitely a time that I think everybody was mad at Mackenzie for sure, including me. A lot of people think that I just defend Mackenzie willy-nilly, that I never call her out for anything that I disagree with. That's not true. Even when I interviewed Mackenzie, that was something that I like, that she knows that that letter was ridiculous. And she literally admitted that on like in my interview. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I know. Like, I cannot believe I did that letter." Brandy says, "I've never seen any reputable source ever say she's lost custody or have a history with addiction, because she hasn't. Her Anybody that I've talked to, she hasn't." And I'm going to show you guys the TikTok that I was tagged in. And this is, I don't want it to look like I'm like coming after the creator. I'm not. I've watched several of this creator's videos. I just want to correct the info. Thank you. Thank you. I think you're fair. And that Mackenzie interview was great, Elle. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to watch this video that I was tagged in. Okay, so the comment down here, y'all can't see that, but it says, they're talking about Mackenzie. She actually used to be an addict. It was said early on she actually has an older kid she lost custody of because of her addiction. And the child's father had custody and refused for the child to be on TV. As you guys can see over here, somebody tagged me, said, "Elle Bee, what'd you think about that?" And I said, "Not true at all, but this is how rumors get started. Mackenzie was never an addict." Shady said that's not true. She never lost custody or been on drugs. Cassie says she's never lost custody, never even taken drugs. This is out of control. And then Kayla says old news. They literally met in rehab. Come on now. I think Kayla's confusing. I think Kayla may be confusing Mackenzie with Amanda, because that's where Ryan and Amanda met. They met in the halfway house. And Brittany said, did she get Ryan into drugs? Listen, everybody that really has like kept up with this story for a long time knows that Ryan was on drugs before he got with Mackenzie. I've seen that comment though. Literally, I think it's even on here. Somebody said no, she never didn't have custody of her son. The father didn't allow him to be filmed on TV because she was using too. I've always said it. I said it from the start. She was just as messed up at the wedding. She was just better at covering it up. Wow. There is not one thing that made me feel like Mackenzie was messed up at the wedding. She was young, she was eager, she was naive, but as far as like maybe high on life at the time, I don't know. I thought I remembered that. Well, no. You know what? I forgot about that. Now we're having the Mandela effect. This has brought on the Mandela effect, where people now think they remember something that never happened, or they think they remember something a certain way that never happened. And she actually let him leave treatment early because she and the kids missed him and he wanted to come home. I will say the first time that he went to rehab, people wasn't even aware that he went. And well, no, it wasn't even that he went. So after Ryan and Mackenzie got married, a lot of people don't know this. After they got married, that whole driving thing, the very next day, she contacted a treatment facility She got with his parents. They told Ryan, you have to go to treatment or we're done with you. So she drove him all the way to treatment, get there, and he says, I'm not going. I'm not going in. I'm not going in. So she says, well, if you're not going to go to treatment, like, we can't be together. Everybody says, oh, Mackenzie enabled him. When you're dealing with an addict, it's very hard how to navigate that. It's very hard between, loving them and being there for them and enabling them. It's hard to do that. It's hard to find that balance. And everybody that I've talked to, and Mackenzie herself said that she grew up like sheltered from that kind of stuff. Like, she didn't grow up around drugs. So she didn't know how to navigate it. She was 20 years old, but he refused to go. So she said, okay, if you refuse to go, like me, your parents were done. So she came home and she left. It was like the next day that he said, okay, I'll go to rehab. So he went to rehab. So a lot of people think that Mackenzie just enabled him and never asked him to go to rehab. That's not true. It just wasn't aired on the show. It just wasn't aired on the show, and we weren't privy to that information. I want to play this because this person is saying that she was an addict, that it was said on the show early on, and that she lost custody of her son, Hudson. That's why her ex refused to let him be on the show. So I'm going to play this video for you guys really quickly.
Tell me you're lying right now. Tell me you're lying right now. This makes me hate her even more. She said she actually used to be an addict. It was said early on she actually has an older kid she lost custody of because of her addiction, and the child's father had custody and refused for the child to be on TV. So she was an addict herself before, and then married a person in active addiction, then tried to say that she didn't know he was in active addiction? I really wanted to whack her at the reunion when she read that stupid ass letter to Macy and then ran off the stage. I wanted to whack her. Oh my God.
The letter was crazy.
She is evil. Honestly, she's the evil stepmom that we would all hate to have. Like, I'm going to go look this up, because if this is true, which I think it is, because y'all are my people, I'm literally...
Just believe in a comment. Just believe it. Listen, as creators, I've went down that hole before, and sometimes I still catch myself doing it. Like, there is some like people on X or like on Instagram that I know they have sources. So when they say something, like, I'll be like, hey, this is what's being said. But I never say, oh, I know that it's true. I know that it's true, or I trust y'all. And I'm not trying to come for this creator. I just feel like, as people with a large following, we do have to be careful to say something's true if we don't know for sure. And we have to be really careful just believing somebody because they left us a comment on our page. Like, ooh, that can get, that's how rumors get started. And then the next thing you know, like, everybody's running with this when it's just not true. You know what I'm saying? It could be very damaging. So I think even I catch myself sometimes. Like I said, there is like 2 accounts on Twitter when it comes to Janelle stuff. I usually, like, if they say it, I'm like, it's probably true. But when I get on here and I tell you guys that I've seen it, I don't say, oh, this is actually true. I say, this is what I'm hearing. I don't know for sure. It's not verified, but this is what I'm hearing. And this is no hate to the creator or anything. And I don't want to cause any issues with the creator. But I do think we have to be very careful when we see a comment. Do we know this person that left that comment? Is this just like a random? This comment was left by Travel Mama O. Maybe it's one of her like longtime people, so she believes them. But this is not true, you guys. So I've talked to several people about this. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys. Okay, so Mackenzie works in the medical field. So she works in the medical field, which required a background check. She has to have credentials. She couldn't hold the credentials that she has if she had gotten in any sort of trouble, with addiction or anything like that. So, yeah, she's never. I reached out to people and I was like, "Have you ever heard this?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's not true. We've never had any reason to believe that she was an addict. She's never been to rehab. I mean, she drinks a little bit here and there, but as far as like any sort of addiction, no, that's not the case, right?" So I also looked into this being on Teen Mom, because I'm like, what? Like, how did I miss there being a whole episode about Mackenzie, her, oldest child, and the dad, right? How did I miss that? So I looked it up. Ryan Edwards introduced Mackenzie Standifer on Team Emoji Season 6, 2016. That's when she made her first appearance as his girlfriend, and by the reunion special later that year, they were engaged. All right, so on the show, Ryan's addiction struggles were openly shown and discussed, especially his opioid use, rehab stints, and relapses. However, the show never mentions Mackenzie being an addict or ever being in recovery. That narrative was never part of any storyline on MTV. As far as custody of her son Hudson, Mackenzie's custody situation with her ex-husband Hudson was not addressed on Teen Mom OG. Viewers only saw Hudson on occasion, but the details about her losing or sharing custody were never brought up on the show. I do think Mackenzie addressed it at some point, maybe at a reunion, maybe on like an IG live or something, because I do remember her talking about it. But I don't ever remember anything about her being an addict. Meeting the rehab definitely didn't happen. So on season 6A, Mackenzie made her first appearance in episode 16. Ryan brings her to Bentley's baseball game, introduces her on camera as his girlfriend. This was her official debut. Season 6B, Mackenzie appears more regularly as Ryan's relationship becomes a storyline. By season 6B reunion, Ryan and Mackenzie were already married in a quick courthouse ceremony. Later, filmed later for MTV. The wedding footage included Ryan driving under the influence, which became one of the most infamous scenes of the franchise. The show never mentioned anything about her being an addict or in recovery, nor anything about her custody struggles with Hudson. The addiction focus on the show was entirely on Ryan's opioid struggles, with Mackenzie framed as the person standing by him. So I checked into that to see if anything was ever said. And I went back and I was looking on YouTube for season 6 episodes. I found a couple of clips, nothing that showed anything like that. And I'll show you guys, she's never lost custody. She has she has primary custody. So state of Tennessee Circuit Court, and this was found. I reached out to ask, can I share this, and was told yes. Because it was already out there in the public. I wanted to be sure that I could share it, and was like, yeah, whatever, you can share it. I don't care. It's public anyways. But I did like redact some things just out of respect. So, State of Tennessee Circuit Court, permanent parenting plan agreed. Plaintiff Mackenzie Stevens, defendant Zachary Stevens. The mother and father will behave with each other and each child as to provide a loving, stable, consistent, nurturing relationship with the child, even though they are divorced. They will not speak badly of each other or the member of the family or the other parent. They will encourage each child to continue to love the other parent and be comfortable in both families. We only have one child. And it says this plan modifies an existing parenting plan dated November 29, 2016. And I'll tell you guys what was in this plan. The plan that we're looking at right now gave Zach more time. So the first initial plan, yes, when Mackenzie and Zach were going through a divorce, Zach did file for full custody. He did. It was not, they were getting a divorce. Things weren't great. They were going through a divorce. Yep, he filed for full custody. But she ended up primary residential parent, with him getting every other weekend. That's what he got. This was later changed in like 2021. I think this was changed in 2021. Let me double check that. 2022, it was changed to give him more time because he deserved it. So what we're seeing here is a parenting plan to give him more time. So the plan that he had prior to this, he got Hudson every other weekend. So it says here, residential time with each parent. Mother is the primary residential parent. Under the schedule set forth below, each parent will spend the following number of days with child. The mother 209 days, the father 156 days. This plan gave him more time. So for people to be like, oh, it was on the show that she lost custody, with a parenting plan before this, he got him every other weekend. She still, I know there was some I remember reading a while back, one of those clickbait articles that said the dad was granted primary residential parent, but I ain't never seen anything else that was credible say that. And then I found this, and I reached out to my sources, And they're like, that's an updated parenting plan. This one gave him more time. The parenting plan before was every other weekend, and this gave him more time. And I was told, and he deserved it. Hudson's dad is very involved in his life, has always been super involved in his life. Now, here's the thing, because Mackenzie and Hudson's dad, Zach, both have custody with Mackenzie being primary parent, but because he had custody, Tennessee law says he had the option to not allow Hudson to be on the show, right? So let me see where I looked that up because I was digging into that as well. Okay, so parental consent. A minor can't legally consent to appear on television. Consent must come from the parents or the guardians. If both parents share legal custody, then generally both have a say in whether the child can film. It's just like Janelle, right? She left David. They were in the middle of a divorce, and David said, Inslee can't film. Inslee can't film. So Inslee couldn't film. They were in the middle of the divorce, and he said, Inslee can't film. So until they got custody even situated, Inslee could not film. But he didn't have custody of Inslee. Custody agreement. If the custody order designates joint legal custody, the father can usually object and stop the child from being filmed, especially if it's for a commercial or entertainment purposes. If the mother has sole legal custody, she may be able to decide without the father's consent. If the parents disagree, the father can petition the court. Tennessee courts use the best interest of the child standard. A judge could restrict or forbid filming if it is seen as harmful or exploitative, if it interferes with the child's well-being. So bottom line, if the father has joint custody, he very much can stop or at least challenge the child's participation on the show. If the mother has sole legal custody, the father may have less direct say, but he can still petition the court and argue that appearing on TV isn't in the child's best interest. So, and there was no way that Mackenzie could have met Ryan in rehab if she's never even been to rehab. I was flabbergasted. I get flabbergasted. Like, I know there's a strong hatred for Mackenzie. I know that. I get it. I understand I get hate and heat for not having that same hatred. I've literally seen people say, oh, I unfollowed Elle because she takes up for Mackenzie too much. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay. But one thing that I'm going to always try to stand on is the truth. If I know the truth and I see, and this would be with anybody, if it be with Janelle, with Amber, just like Amber. I've defended Amber before, even though I don't like her. I think she's a horrible person and a horrible human being. But I've always said, when people question Amber's pupils, I don't, because Amber's on mental health medication. It's going to mess with your pupils. So I've never questioned, to me, when her pupils are ginormous, I'm like, maybe her medication. If you look it up, like, medication can affect the size of your pupils. So I've always been one to, if I like you or not, I still try to stand on the truth. I don't let it, I try not to let it sway me into like just jumping on a lie, or it's not going to sway me to jumping on a lie. Now, if I somewhat believe it, I will still say, I don't know if this is true or not, but the rumor mill kills me. And I just feel like as creators, we just have to be so careful on, jumping on a TikTok and saying that something is true. So regardless if it's not true, it's not true. I absolutely hate Gypsy Rose, but have had to defend her a few times. And yes, I clenched my jaw the entire time, but truth is the truth. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. But yeah, so that I wanted to do a video. Brandy says that's just what people do in a divorce. They ask for the sun, moon, and stars. So they end up with a decent deal. They'll never think they're actually going to get it. I mean, you guys remember Ryan asked for full custody of Jagger and Stella. Ryan asked for full custody of Jagger and Stella. And I remember being like, what? There's no way he's going to get full custody of these kids. He asked for full custody and child support. And I was like, he asked that a lien be placed on Mackenzie's house in the event that she didn't pay him child support. I was like, what? I mean, I was mind blown, but yeah, apparently them lawyers in Tennessee and other places, when you're going through divorce, they want you to ask for full custody. It's a thing there, I guess. I mean, maybe it is here in Louisiana too. I don't know. I've never been divorced, so I don't know that, But anyways, you guys, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. I just had to like jump on here and like put this out, seeing that video. I'm like in the comment section, like, that's not true. That never happened. It was on the show. And I'm like, no, it wasn't on the show. You guys are literally the victims of the Mandela effect now. What you heard on the show was them discussing Ryan's struggles. I mean, yes, she went through a divorce. Yes, her ex asked for full custody. Oh, and I was told that her and that Mackenzie and Hudson and Hudson's dad all have a great relationship now. They are like great. They have a great relationship. Um, and as far as like Mackenzie and Amanda getting married, like Amanda, Ryan and Amanda getting married, Mackenzie it has no ill will towards them. She is like, she's glad that everybody's doing good and is happy and healthy. I see those comments a lot too. Like, Mackenzie's so mad. And she really isn't, you guys. I mean, when I reach out for comment, when I talk to people that know her, they're like, no, she's not. She's literally, moving on with her life. Now, whether or not she's moving on with her life with a married man, I don't know that for sure. I've tried to get clarification on that. But if that is the case, then that's very shisty, and I'll say that. Have they ever met, though, Amanda and Mackenzie? No, not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. But anyways, you guys, I gotta head out for a ball game. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm gonna try to go live tonight on TikTok if I don't get home too late. My son has a football game. But me and Cassie, we're going to try to go live on TikTok tonight to also kind of talk about this and hopefully sort this out. So many people don't just believe that, these rumors, these wild rumors. But you guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, come back and hype me up. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.